welcome to the SpeakEasy Conversations, number 22. I'm here with my esteemed colleague, Renee, and Doug.
Like how Renee is the esteemed colleague.
You already know. You already know.
That's true.
What's going on? Nice to see you, Renee. Thanks for coming back and helping us here, talk to some moms and get the mom perspective. And we usually see your cult perspective and we see some other sides of you. So tonight it'll be fun to see we've seen your mom's side before, but it's always
usually
nice to
for
see
me talking about mothers, it's like somebody who's not your mother calling themselves mother and manipulating you to do their bidding. But today it'll be a little more positive mother. Yeah.
Right. We can go the other side for sure. So Renee, is there anything in a glass for you?
Yeah. So I just got a new whiskey today. I've just tried the tiniest little sip to make sure I wasn't having it. It's called Few. It's a bourbon. It was brought home to me today by the dad in my house. And I got it on the rocks a little bit. Mm-hmm. Very comparable to Angel's Envy. Really beautiful bourbon if you like bourbon. Never heard of it before today, but it is a small batch and it's pretty nice. So I recommend.
Nice. And I think Doug and I are matching.
Yes, we're matchy cats. If we're going to use a Zach Rosenberg term, matchy cats. So, thanks to Daniel Fisher sending us this guy. Frederick and Maine, American Light Lager. Both got it. So, we're going to give it a go.
Doug's doing the whole reveal here, and I'm just skipping everything. I couldn't wait.
That's all right, man. I forgive you. What are your thoughts on it, sir?
This time you'll forgive me. I'll wait for you.
Oh, thanks. Well, look at that. It's a light lager. Very much looks the point, doesn't it?
Yes.
And RIP to my favorite brewery, the North Brewery glass here. So,
yeah. My shirt is outdated. Don't bring back Pluto. It's fine where it is. Anyway, go on, Doug.
Well, that definitely hits the American Light Lager style. Very light, very crisp. I dig that. What do you think, Greg?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's right down the style, It's absolutely not what I want right now, though. But it's fine, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
What do you want right now?
Well, a beer's a mood, So, like, this is kind of not my mood, if that makes sense. I probably would like something boozier, but Doug gave me the chance. Doug was like, "Yeah, you pick it," and I was like, "I don't know what to do." So then Doug was like, "These two, buddy." So
you wanted something darker with a little bit more like relaxing.
Yeah. Or something with a little bit more taste. Respectfully, this style here, while it's well done, it's not a style that pops taste wise, if that makes sense. It's just not.
Lager is not my favorite either. I get you.
Yeah, it's a beer that tastes like beer, and that's fine most of the time. But right now, it's a leadoff beer. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a day drinking beer. Doug, is it a shower beer? Tell me.
I would say so. Yeah, you want that lighter style.
Lawnmower beer.
Lawnmower beer too. Agreed.
Yeah. All of those things. It's just not fitting my mood, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but I would like to. I would just like to point out that sorry, I would like to point out that Greg being like, I don't know, what do you want to do? And I said, well, you pick one. He's like, eh? And then I was like, okay, this is like me trying to talk to my wife about choosing restaurants.
Right.
Or one of my kids. Will be like, what do you want to eat? They're like, eh? And I'm like, God damn it, now I gotta.
Well, so more background to this. I literally asked Doug actually, it might have been after the time that we should have hit stream. So it might have been 8 o'clock that I asked Doug what we're doing for beers. So that was strike one. And then strike two, I asked the man a question. He responds, and then I just literally gave him, Renee, this emoji. Like that was the response. This emoji. So then I was no help in this, and I didn't help myself at all. And then I got what I got, and I fucked around, and I found out, and that's what happened.
Well, and then I said, "Here's these two options. Which one?" And it was like,
Well,
okay,
no,
and then you picked. Then you did pick. So, yeah.
it's one of those passive aggressive times, and I know you've been married forever, so you've had this, and I know Doug has had it too. It's one of those passive aggressive times where I wanted Doug to make the decision, but I didn't say that. So then I was just playing like a little game. You know what I'm saying?
Folks
Like
at home,
it didn't.
let me tell you what will save your relationships. If you don't know what you want, but you just like what you want is not to be the one making the choice, save that. That has changed my entire household when we just say, now I don't want to be the one who decides. And then it's like, okay, now I know what my job is.
Right. And I just completely like did it the totally wrong way. So, and I got what I got. I messed.
Argue later.
Right. And Doug is great, but it was absolutely one of those situations for sure. And I know everybody in a relationship can relate because you go through this 7 times a week sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
7 times a month for sure.
But I mean, beer, like you said, mood, like food the same way. Like, my wife is very mood driven for what she wants to eat. And I think we all are to some degree. So it's like, I'll be like, what do you want to eat? She'll be like, I'm not really sure. So then we just, if you start, all right, well, we have this, and then try to offer options. And she'll say, what are you in the mood for? And and then it's more like, well, I'm definitely not in the mood for that. And then you can kind of tick boxes
right
that way.
Right. Which leads us to the perfect, in my opinion, segue from us to the mothers on our panel is this, Doug. It's like it's that whole what's for dinner question, or I'm sorry, what's for dinner question now. It's actually, Doug, what do we do for Mother's Day? And it's not easy giving gifts, period. Right, Doug? Giving your wife gifts, even if she says she wants nothing, sometimes you feel that that's a trap. So then you feel like you might be right. And it's not a trap if y'all have good open communication like Renee was talking about, but it could be a trap if you know what I'm saying. So like that'll be our segue as we get our mothers up here now, Doug, is I let that be the first question. Let that be the question that we ask y'all is like, what do y'all want for Mother's Day? And do y'all want to be pampered? Do y'all want to be left alone? Do you want to go out to eat? Do you want us to take the kids and just go to hell away? Do you want us to go away and keep the kids with y'all? Like, Renee, you first, and then we'll bring up our panelists and we'll get all their answers. And then Doug and I will disappear for a little bit and let y'all have a conversation.
Yeah. So, well, before we came on live, I can't remember if it was Doug or Greg said, you guys seem like a low maintenance crowd. And that is not true. I can't speak for them all. But it ain't me. I'm high maintenance. My family got off easy this year because I got obsessed with Portuguese. I don't know if you guys know what these are, but they're like, they used to be popular maybe 40, 50 years ago. You had a little goose, you put it on your porch, whatever. I got obsessed with them. And so I found out that you could get a big one and a little one, like a mama and a baby. I have one kid, so there's no like who does it represent? It was easy. I was like, I want a pair of Portuguese and I want outfits for them. So they got it easy this year because usually I'm like, I will take jewelry.
Okay.
So I know that they've already arrived because I'm home all day, so I know when UPS comes. So I'm getting my Portuguese. We're going out to brunch at a local, it's a tavern by night, cool little restaurant by day, and then I host a film festival on my special days. So I'm picking all of the TV and movies we're going to watch, and my family has to sit there and take it.
That sounds fun. All right. I'm just whatever she's trying to do, I'm doing, and that's it. And she just wants her meals.
Yeah.
So I'll just drive her around.
Any celebration. This is America, man. We eat.
Right. And also, so we're gonna bring in our first mom, a recent guest this year, Doug. This year, right? Actually, one of our most recent guests. She is a Doug, you want to take over or you want me to?
Well, it
she's
depends
an
on which
advocate
person you're
for-
talking about because we didn't.
Yeah, we're sort of named
Well,
it.
well, the last two have not been here for a while, Doug. So,
Okay, so you're talking about the more recent one. That's the case. that I
yeah,
have
I'm going to
here.
say, yeah, we'll say Kimmy's been here within the past month, right?
Yeah, I believe month and a half.
Yeah. It's been recent.
Time flies.
And
Time's a flat circle. So yes.
yeah, and she's an advocate for father-daughter relationships, right, Doug? Did I get that right?
That is correct. She's also an
Yeah.
advocate
She wealth of
for,
knowledge in this area. Yeah. So we're gonna bring Kimmy on right here. What's up, Kimmy?
Kimmy.
Long time no
Hey.
see, or short time no see. How you doing? How you doing?
I'm good.
Good,
Yeah,
good. So
I am a father-daughter relationship advocate, but I am a boy mom.
oh,
So you see it both sides.
there you go. And
So like
Kimmy,
I
what-
have a dad, but so I have a girl dad, but I have 2 boys.
excellent. And so I miscategorized Renee in the pre-production, so I don't want to do the same to you. So are you high maintenance, low maintenance, medium maintenance? Where do you feel you are as far as
I think I'm
not
somewhere
only
in the
gift giving,
middle.
Mother's Day?
I don't want my husband to ever feel unnecessary or like manufactured pressure. Like that's not what the holiday is about for me. I don't want him to feel that. So, but I do like to celebrate really anything at all. And I think that I want to instill that in my kids, that they're excited to celebrate too. And so, we do that for everybody's special days. So I'm somewhere in the middle, but like I was saying on the pre-show before we went live, I was saying that I always send my husband a little text with a little list of things that would make me happy so that he doesn't have to guess. And he pretty much knows, but it's also like, let's just be on the same page. So,
we love that. We
Right.
love that.
Yeah.
Just tell us
It's
what
like-
to do and we'll do it.
I mean, and I think we should have open communication. I don't like that game of like, well, let's see if he comes through. Like, I don't like that narrative. I don't think that's helpful. So this year I just said, and he always gets me flowers a few days before, which I love. And then now my kids are old enough where they're bringing me stuff from school, which made me really happy. But today I walked in the house. We had quite a moment. My husband's carrying this giant arrangement in the house with the toddler who or the preschooler who wanted to carry it himself, but it's like glass. So there was like a fight there because he wanted to carry it himself. My husband was helping him. And then at the same time, he had given me a card that he made me, and I put it down on the counter because I saw this little flower arrangement my other one had brought from preschool, and then I knocked it over and the water went everywhere and the card. But it was a great moment, and they got to see mommy not losing it when, stuff, was a little crazy. And we got to start on Friday night. Mother's Day is not till Sunday, so we've got like good long runs. So
Y'all
I'm
should have a
somewhere.
weekend.
Yeah, I'm somewhere in the middle on maintenance, but it's mostly because I like to celebrate things, whatever it is. And I like my kids to understand celebration. And I think it's important that they understand, certain lessons about the holidays. One thing that Max, my older one, did tell me is he wanted to show me a new necklace that he had made at school. And he said, "This is for me because you have too much jewelry, mommy." And he said, "So I made this for me and not for you." And so I said, "Well, that's fine, but don't ever tell a girl that she has too much jewelry. Right, Daddy?" We're really practical in my house.
Now, I think that you liked getting your flowers early because this year I chose to schedule my mom's flower delivery super early because she loves tulips, right? So I always get her bulb arrangements and they come as like a bowl of dirt.
Right.
So I was like, well, maybe if I get it and have it delivered early, it'll actually be something by Mother's Day. And so I'm glad to hear that works.
I think it's really a cool thing to do. My husband does it on my birthday too. He just brings it ahead of time. It makes me happy. We get like a jump start. And also, I just practically speaking, you get a lot more for your money when you do it a few days before. Like if you do that Sunday delivery, you're just, yeah.
And then, because now you're already in a good mood for having gotten flowers by the time the event happens.
Yeah. And oftentimes they're like a third of the price. So you get like bigger ones or healthier ones or more ones, right?
You're very, yeah, you got it on lock, Kimmy.
I was
Doug, you hearing
I was
this?
a Hollywood assistant for a while.
I'm paying
so-
attention.
There it
Yeah,
is.
and all you dads out there, listen. You're hearing it. Y'all hearing it. Y'all hearing
I would
it.
like to clarify, listen to your wife about what she wants.
Well, yeah.
Because you might be like, I'm going to get my wife flowers. She'll be like, why'd you get me these?
I mean, it seems really simple, Doug, doesn't it?
When
It is
I
simple.
when I got married, my brother,
It's
who's
not.
much older than me, he's 13 years older than me, he said to my husband, he said, here's my advice for you. If a holiday comes up or something comes up for her birthday or Christmas or whatever holiday, ask her what she wants and then go buy that thing.
Simple.
Yeah, I'm always
know,
arguing with myself about that because my husband's a very good gift giver.
Mine
But
too.
sometimes you're busy, you've got stuff going on, you're not like ready to come through. So I like to have that conversation beforehand. We establish expectations, we know what's going on. Nobody's like, what? You didn't do anything? It's always in a good place.
We're going to bring up Heather here right now. But before that, I just wish y'all would all like have wish lists and then I could just pull off of that. Is that too informal?
Well, I'll send you my Amazon list if you
Right.
want. My husband's already shopped.
Hey, but before we bring Heather up, we didn't ask Kimmy what she's drinking because I know we all have a variety of different things. What is in your glass?
Yeah.
I'm drinking grapefruit Spindrift. I drink
Spindrift.
water, and I like Spindrift because I like the size of the bubbles. They sparkle.
Hey, like I said, we always say drink what you like.
Yeah, I know there's like a war on sparkling water, but I'm pro sparkling water.
War on sparkling water.
Like if there can be a war on Christmas, there can be a war on sparkling water.
There is. It's the next.
I don't want to go into that rabbit hole. Before
It's
we
the
have
next
a-
gluten.
Yeah, not yet. Not
And I'm gluten
yet.
free, but I'm ready to go sparkle free soon. But I'm not ready to yet.
Wow. Doug, would you like to do the next introduction? Because I stumbled.
Yeah, we should before we go down another rabbit hole here. So we're gonna bring our friend Heather Pavich on here. She is a behavior analyst and is a co-owner of a place called Summit Therapies in Orlando, Florida, and just a nerd as well, which we love. So we're all about that.
A big nerd. Oh my
big
God.
nerd. Yeah,
Don't go
and
down
that's
this
why-
rabbit
that's-
hole. Do not do that, y'all.
Yeah. So let's bring on Heather. Oh,
Oh, of course.
of course we did. Hey, Heather. welcome to the
Hello. Hey, how you guys doing? I have to start by saying, Greg, you might appreciate this. I do have an Amazon wish list.
Oh, okay.
Bad.
Okay. Oh.
show. Greg's gonna get a bunch of DMs after this show, and he's gonna
Well,
be like,
so
"Go on."
I'm a year-round gifter, and I like to be spontaneous and surprised with my gifts. So that's why if I have to ask you, then there goes a surprise.
Yeah.
Right. So then that's my kick. Now, the lady involved with my does not update her wish list almost ever. So it's always a, hey, nudge. Can you update your wish list? And then I won't buy anything forever then. And she'll be like, well, you told me to update your wish list. And I'm like, well, I can't with you. Anyway, Heather, are you low maintenance, high maintenance, medium maintenance when it comes to Mother's Day, specifically Mother's Day?
I'm very low maintenance. We have a nice little group of friends, and we just go out and do brunch together. And the kids are old enough. I've had a 10-year-old and 8-year-old, so they bring home all the cute stuff from school. They make me a handmade card. Let's go to brunch and then lay out by the pool and have fun for the day. And I'm good. That's it. No more.
Okay. So time with your friends, time with your kids.
Mhm.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
All right.
I mean, I think my husband and I have both told each other this, like throughout the year, like if there's something that I really want, I just tell him, I'm like, hey, I really want this. And we usually just kind of buy what we want. My husband is also an amazing gift giver. One of his top love languages is gifts. So he's very good at giving gifts because that's like his favorite thing to receive. And I'm not as good because mine is acts of service. So I just want you to like clean my house for me.
I want you to be a butler. Thank you.
I want
So what-
both. So that's my
now my question would be, if they are the butler, do they have to dress in a uniform?
If he wants to, sure, yeah.
Do you get to pick the uniform?
Yes, I do.
Doug, we got to get out of here before they start asking those questions.
Well, we before we go, we have to. Heather, what are you drinking? Because we've asked.
Oh, I have a couple. So I'm starting with this little show pigeon. It's adorable. It's a local brewery.
Yeah. Okay. Central.
Local where?
So I'm in Central Florida. This is from DeBerry, Florida. It's a nice.
DeBerry.
It's
One of
DeBerry.
Doug's favorite states in the world.
Oh, I know. He can't wait to come see us down here. It's
My in-laws are begging me to come, and they're like, no.
not now.
Doug.
Ew, it's hot.
Doug, what if I told you that Florida is one of the better states in this country? What would you say to that?
I would say that either you're very high, or you've had many beverages. One of the two.
Nah, Doug. It's more like we have 30 shitty states. But
well,
that
that's
aside, we will. That aside,
Wait,
we
real
won't
quick.
touch that. We'll go.
I can't chat back on YouTube, so I just want to highlight Daniel's comment about wishing Zach was here to make comments.
that would go off the rails.
Yeah.
Y'all might have ruined it. He's one of those people, you mention him and he shows up. So we got one more mother here. I think April's here. I'm not sure. She doesn't have her camera on. So I see April. Yes. April is it appears to be mothering as we speak, y'all. So let's bring April up. She's probably, I think, the newest mother here.
Yes.
April, how you doing?
I'm good.
Oh my goodness, cuteness. This is the youngest guest we've ever had on, Doug.
It's fair.
What's going on, April? How you been?
I'm good. Tired, but good.
How old is little one?
He just turned 1 on the 2nd.
Oh, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, little one.
Yeah, that's awesome. So that's good that'll be good because y'all can delve into young motherhood, and I suspect you only have water there, April, but maybe you have some wine or something.
We would not judge, that's for sure.
Oh, baby bottle. All right.
She's
we
in
know
the
April
popping
from-
other bottles phase.
Yeah. We know April from our beer community. And now April is, as y'all see, a new mother. So I still consider 1 year a new mother. I don't know if y'all
Oh,
do.
yeah.
I mean, I was completely clueless. My first wow. I look back and I'm like,
you were complete. We're all like, I'm still completely clueless.
I'm still
My kids are
there.
adults.
So
yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
a
but
teenager.
year one
I
was
don't
just
get a handle on the preschool years.
year one was deer in the headlights for me. It was like, what did I do? What the hell's going on? What did I do? Anyway, what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to leave y'all and we'll be here. But I just wanted to say thank you. I want to say thank y'all before Doug and I go to the side here. I want to thank y'all for being on. What's the little one's name? Oh my goodness, so cute.
he's Isaiah.
Isaiah. Hi, Isaiah.
Say
He's
hi.
already a star. Look at him. He's already achieved our status, Doug.
and everything. He's got it.
He's achieved our status. He's won, Doug. You see how like these kids are just coming up so fast.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. If y'all need us, we'll be here in the comments. But again, we want to thank you, and I'm gonna go chill a little.
Yeah, same.
So April, it being the hardest time to be a mom that first year. So what do you have going on for Mother's Day?
Well, the men in my family are doing something for me, my mother, and my grandmother. So I really don't know. I just told them after 8 p.m. I want money, Hennessy, and quiet time.
Yes.
That's all I want. So
That's what every mother should get every Mother's Day until like 8 or 9 years old.
yeah.
So my question for all the moms here is, if I asked you, because I think we all have kids at different ages. Like, well, Heather and Kimmy, your kids are kind of close. You still have a preschool. Yeah. What's your tell me that you're a mom without telling me you're a mom? For example, I'm the mom of a teenager, so mine is I couldn't find a shirt to wear tonight because my child has stolen all my clothing. So, Kimmy, what's yours recently?
Oh my gosh, there's so many. I don't know. I'm just like sweeping toys out of my hallway so that I don't fall at night.
Yeah, near-death experiences is very tell me your mom without telling me your mom.
We also
How
had to
about
do like
Sorry.
surgery on a Lovey tonight because like my kid's like little Lovey was like disintegrating, so he couldn't have it anymore because he could like potentially like get it in his mouth. And so we had to tell him that it went to the hospital, and then we were like performing surgery, like spent like a good part of the day today trying to repair this Lovey with my nanny.
Yeah, I had to do that with Chip and Dale stuffed animals from Disneyland that were no longer sold, so they couldn't be replaced. They had to be repaired. But my mother-in-law stepped in, so that's where I got lucky.
Yeah. We had a team over here.
Yeah.
Me and my
Well, you don't
nanny.
need just one person, right? Yeah. You have to have a whole, yeah.
You need to have like a medical team.
No, not Chip and Dale's, Doug. Chip and Dale. The chipmunk from Disney. So Heather, what is recent tell me you're a mom without telling me you're a mom?
The playgrounds here are usually either mulch or sand, and so just piles of mulch and sand are all over my house at any given time because they take off their shoes, and I have pictures of them dumping literal sand piles out of their shoes. And yeah,
and then it's like glitter because it just appears in other places.
It's so horrible. I hate sand so much. I'm a Floridian and I hate sand. It is
I live
the
in the
worst
desert,
feeling.
so yeah, I feel you.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable. So we have that. My one son he gets it from me because I also collect rocks, but he collects rocks. So I probably have a rock in my purse right now where he's walking by and he's like, "Oh, hold it." So I'll open a purse and there's rocks and things.
There's like now there's controversy in the comments about hating sand.
Oh no.
Doug, the amount that you hate sand depends entirely on how much you have to clean the sand and where you get the sand. Those are the two variables that dictate how much you like or hate sand.
I just can't.
And sand in your house is different than sand on the beach.
I don't like either. I just don't like
right?
Yeah. I just don't like when you want it to get off of you and it just doesn't, and it just like clings to you. I don't like that. I cannot stand walking. We have tile or wood floors, walking through our house and hitting a patch of sand.
Yeah. So I was in the Marines, and there's always this debate about whether women have it as hard. But what we had hair when we had to go in the sand pits, and we only got to wash our hair once a week. And men have shaved heads in boot camp, so they definitely had it easier, at least in that one respect.
I mean, they're saying Anakin has entered the chat, and yes, I will side with Anakin all day. I cannot stand sand. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, so that's one of my things. Is it's also like surprise sand. Like if I know we're going to the beach and I can prepare for it, but it's like you're just walking through your house and you're like, oh, patch of sand.
Yeah.
So
we're getting a nerd tonight with the sand talk.
Yeah. So that one.
Yeah,
there we go. Yeah. I'm okay with the rocks in my purse, although they weigh it down, but
That's true. You have to make sure you switch arms to counteract
Yeah, I've started getting to the point where I've told them like when we go out like I'm not your pack mule just because I carry a purse doesn't mean I'm carrying my husband's sunglasses and things and my kids' water bottles and a pile of rocks. So I just have the kids take a backpack and I'm like, put it in your backpack.
If that doesn't work, you can always put the rocks and the sunglasses together, and at least one person will learn their lesson.
It'll usually go in someone's pocket, and then we learn a lesson in the laundry room.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So April, you're still in the trenches. So I feel like you must have a list of
Yes,
miles.
if you guys could see.
Yeah. One is that you are doing an interview with your baby on camera with
Yes.
you. There's one.
He thinks he's Spider-Man. But for me, definitely I have snacks at all times. So I have a purse full of snacks. That's how you can tell I'm a mom. I'm also to bed at 9 o'clock.
Yep.
And I've been told that I sing Gracie's songs spontaneously, like at work instead of hip hop or rap.
There you go.
Singing Gracie at this point.
We've been listening to hopscotch songs a lot. These are like, it's these YouTube TikTokers. They write incredible kid stuff too. They're like Gracie's or Doggyland, but they're more folk. And I'm like, get in the car and I'm like, I'm alone. What am I going to listen to? And I like want to turn on the Planet song.
Yeah.
Oh.
I was excited because Paul Wall and Gracie just dropped a new song last week. And I thought that was like, it was like Beyonce dropped a new album for me. Like I was so ready for it. Timer.
My kids are into Minecraft, so there is a whole section of songs where it's this guy doing raps from like popular tunes like Slim Shady, but they make it into Minecraft. And I can rap most of those at this point.
That's amazing. I love that. They didn't have that for Minecraft when my kid was really into it.
It's a hidden talent.
I have a friend who just had a baby, and that's like the friend that the last one, I guess, probably. Most of my friends, they're like past the having baby stage. So now I'm getting to learn about all the new baby TV, and I'm being introduced to Miss Rachel.
Mm-hmm.
I love her.
Any of you, do Miss Rachel?
Love Miss Rachel.
My kids are a little bit past it now, but we watched a bunch of it.
Yeah.
My favorite part is that my friend was looking for birthday because her daughter just turned 1, looking for gifts that had Miss Rachel songs on them because that is what instantly puts her daughter in a good mood, right? But it couldn't be anything that had a stuffed Miss Rachel because for some reason the plushie Miss Rachel ponytail freaks her daughter out. And that was the part of motherhood I don't miss. Are you guys still in that phase of like, there's just these things that are inexplicable. Your child cannot explain it to you. You cannot explain it to anybody else, but you have to live with, nope, they just hate that.
No. Mine are,
Isaiah hates, for some reason, loofah sponges. Don't know why. He freaks out. He starts to scream. He'll crawl or try to run away from them. I clean my baby, I promise, but loofahs are not his thing.
Not with a loofah. He's a washcloth baby, not a loofah baby.
Mine are a little old. No, mine are pretty much just tell me what they like and don't like with many words.
Oh,
So, mine is going into middle school and then mid-elementary, so we're kind of yeah.
We're opinionated now. Yeah.
We have thoughts. And I'm like, oh, yay. It's fine. They haven't really had any of those really weird phobias. I'm trying to think of if they did, but I can't think of any that they had any weird aversions or anything.
Like locked that away in a box and thrown it like deep
Probably.
into the
I'm going to remember it at 3 a.m. I'm going to sit up and be like, wait. I remember more of their like not weird, but like the phases they go through where they're obsessed with like different things, like the car phase. I'm a boy mom, so it was cars and dinosaurs and then planets and that.
But now you're at an age where the obsessions get kind of fun because they do more varied. So like one year, and this would have been middle school age, my kid wanted like the My Little Pony people dolls, because they had a movie where they were people,
Oh.
and also a doll of Bill Skarsgård from the It remake. And so we delivered on that for Christmas, and then I got to go into the bedroom to, I don't know, assign chores or put something away, and I see Pinkie Pie holding Pennywise over her head aloft in the windowsill.
That's awesome. Mine are strong into Pokemon and Minecraft right now. We're very deep into that world. My older son, I kind of introduced him to the soundtrack of Hamilton.
Oh,
Select songs,
okay, good.
mainly the King George song, and he's picked up a lot of fun things. And my favorite is when he's upset about something, he goes, "I'm so blue," and he does like the little stomp that he does.
That's amazing.
So we've reached that kind of like fun part. So I do appreciate TikTok for that, because I can show them like just those little snippets of the show, which obviously I'm not showing them the whole thing at this age, but one day, but not now. And so they get to see that.
This year is the year that I took my musical obsessed child to real musicals, and it was so fun because we did, edgier stuff that we wouldn't have done when they were maybe 12 or 13 years old. So you get to build on it, and then eventually you'll be like me sitting in Book of Mormon, like, okay, strap in. We're gonna be the other people here who didn't know what this was about the whole way home.
Oh boy.
When I was the third kid by 11 years, so my parents just showed me a bunch of stuff early, and I was okay.
Yeah.
They took me to they had me watching Grease, the movie. It wasn't like the most suggestive, but I don't know if I would show that to my 5-year-old. I don't know. Things like that. They took me to a lot of musicals early, and I remember those. I remember it. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well,
My favorite musicals.
so what do you feel like your edgiest thing that you've exposed your children to has been?
Oh, I mean, I have them on lockdown.
You're like, no.
Like the edgiest thing I've done is probably just have them watch way more TV than is recommended by the AAP.
I feel like anybody who says that they don't is maybe lying. I feel like there's a really good chance that you're lying. You're like, we don't do screen time. Like, yes, you do.
My mother, I called my mom and I said it because, there are times where we watch more, like if we have a sick kid or we're traveling, which was this past 10 days, and was both of those things. And I said to my mom once, I'm like, do you think this is really bad that we're like having them watch as much screen time? Like, the TV's just kind of on in the background. And she goes, Kimmy, it's not like they're watching TV all day long like you did. And you have masters. So I wouldn't worry about it.
You know what it is too, is like when we were kids, I feel like this was true in my family, on like at the grandparents' house, at home, everywhere. And it was true of a lot of my friends. The TV was on, and whatever was on was on. So like you'd be like 6 and the 6 o'clock news would be just throwing the craziest stuff at you that you've no context for, and you're just living with it. Where at least now, if you put on children's programming, like they're just getting a straight stream of children's programming that whole day.
Right. I will say, to your edgy question, I did play the Eras tour for them. They're really into that. And I play them a lot of like music videos, and they're 3 and 5 and they're really into it. And like, I played them Benson Boone, like they love that Grammys performance. That's where I go. I think music is where I go.
I'm with you on that one. My kids can sing most of Taylor Swift's albums.
Mm-hmm.
And we've had to explain because some of her most recent music has swear words in it. And I'm like, we bleep it out, or we don't. Oh, she got a mouth now.
Taylor, I did not know that.
I was definitely raised with the like whatever's on is on, and I was actually just talking to my husband about this past weekend. I remember walking around, probably being 10 years old, singing the song Grease Lightning.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I didn't know what it mean. I just was like, yeah, I won't say the lyric, but there's a
I just
whole
had
lot
to share Imani Powell's comment because you guys are making me feel like very like, oh man, am I a bad mom? She's like, oh, Taylor Swift, like that's really edgy, and I'm like, oh my god, like we're a punk house, like we're a rap house, we're like we just music is very important to me. So while I don't know that my kid got straight out of Compton until very recently, until maybe certain people were elected into office and certain songs could be played. But there was no shortage of swear words or edgy material in the music. Yeah. Raised on Sesame Street.
Yeah.
I mean, my kids, I mean, we try to present them with a lot. Like one of my son's favorite songs is an Outkast song. So he's into that kind of, and I'm all about that. What I think is funny is some of the Taylor Swift stuff, like she uses more inappropriate words than.
Yeah, it's very sexual.
Yeah, like rap and some, punk and that kind of stuff. Like they actually don't use as many. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And they saw the Eras tour, and we definitely, the vigilante shit song, we definitely fast forwarded through that one because we didn't need a sexual awakening for my middle school child.
You need to explain about mistresses getting serving paperwork and all that. We didn't need to go there with our kids.
The dance was so. I mean, my husband and I watched it, and our jaw was on the ground. We were like, "Girl, get it!" But
so no Carpenter then.
No, we're not doing the Juno. How's this one? No.
So yeah, well, I guess the edgiest thing I've done is taking my kid to the Book of Mormon, but my kid is 15, so it's different.
Yeah.
And then April, it doesn't count, right? When your kid's a year old, it doesn't. Whatever's on.
Well, my mom doesn't like that I let him watch sports. So we were watching a playoffs game yesterday. It was like the Kings, and I forgot who they were playing. And they start fighting, and Isaiah was like, "Yeah." So I don't know, I don't know if that's a bad thing, but I'm a very strong believer in like we can shelter our kids, but we don't want to over shelter them because we do live in America, which is like a cesspool. So I feel like we're good moms. Screen time is fine.
I have a friend, and they had friends come and visit with a small child, maybe two. And my friend was in his own home watching the Golf Channel. And this other friend of theirs with the 2-year-old who was staying with them was like, "Can you please turn off the TV because my child's not allowed to see a screen?" My motto is, I'm not trying to be a perfect mom. I'm just trying to be a reasonable person.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just trying to be a reasonable person.
The whole key about the things that you as a parent get to be really weirdly strict about is that you have to let go of that when there are other places. And then that's how your kids kind of figure things, I think. Because I can't really remember most of them. I remember my mom being really offended that I said that whole milk was more of a treat than a everyday beverage for my preschooler, and she was just like blown away. And it was sugar.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we were well, at least I was raised in the era where like we did the whole milk mustache campaign. Where like, did you have your milk today?
Yeah.
Every celebrity.
Yeah. No, and I agree. I had so much milk, and now my kid, because my kid will eat really healthy. So I'm like, well, if you're going to eat candy, then eat candy too. I don't care.
Yep.
Because my husband was a no candy household, and to this day, at 50 years old, if there's candy in the house, he eats it all immediately. Like he has the whole off button because he wasn't allowed to ever have it. So when it was there, he's like, I better get it in my mouth before it gets taken away. So
I think there's a lot to be said for that, just because the people that I went to high school with in junior high, the super sheltered, they're not allowed to do this kids, were buck wild crazy. So, and very good at hiding things from their parents.
Oh, yeah.
So,
the most protected people I knew, I would say protected, but like sheltered, protected, not allowed to experience a lot in high school. When they went to college, I will say most of them had a really difficult time adjusting because it was like they didn't have that ability to adjust independently. It was hard to see. So you know.
So Doug's got a great question. What generational trauma thing are you breaking with your kids?
Oh, I apologize to my kids all the time, and I point out when I'm wrong, and I
That's
point
fine.
out when if I blow up, and I say, I'm sorry, I really lost it. That was really uncool of me, and I apologize, and I shouldn't have done that. That's mine.
That one's for me too. I think that's like any of us who are like, paying attention and are like, yep, we probably should apologize or call out some of that behavior. Not to be like perfect, but to just be like, hey, like that, let's apologize if we do that. I'm just trying to help, like this goes back to the eating stuff. I'm trying to just help them eat intuitively because it feels good and not because it's emotional or because somebody's putting pressure on them or because somebody's going to eat their food if they don't eat it. And like our rule is like, I don't fight with them over food. Like if you can see it, then you can eat it. And that means that if I have cupcakes in my house, then I'm not going to fight with you about whether you're going to have those with like your salad or your vegetables at dinner. You can just have it at the same time. I'm not like going through this. I don't do dessert. My thing that my parents-in-law and all my parents, like all the grandparents are like, are you sure, Kimmy? Is that I'm like, we don't talk about dessert in this house. That's not a word that we use. And I'm like, I know it's crazy, but we're not telling anyone that they get dessert if they do anything. So that's how we do it.
Yeah, let's not incentivize food. Yeah.
I'm like, we don't incentivize, like we don't villainize the good food so that we can get to a food that's not healthy for us. Like we don't do that.
That's good.
Yeah.
So April, I guess it's a little harder for you because you haven't had much time to be breaking any generational trauma.
True.
Like, what are your goals? I guess is a good question.
My goals, I'm big on the food thing too, because I was raised in a household where you sat at the table until you cleaned your plate. So there were a lot of times I was eating when I was already full.
Mm-hmm.
So that started like an unhealthy relationship with food, I think. I'm definitely big on if Isaiah doesn't want to hug you, he doesn't have to hug you. We're not forcing contact. We're not forcing. So that's something I plan. He already does now where he gets in moods and he doesn't want to be hugged or cuddled. That's fine. He doesn't have to be. So I won't force him to hug anyone. And I think it's more towards if I had a girl. But when I was growing up, if Uncle so-and-so came over, it was like, okay, go put on pants or, go put on something appropriate. And for me, it's like, no, Uncle so-and-so is kind of a perv if I have to change in my house. So that's definitely something I will enforce. But a lot of plans, but definitely he doesn't have to hug you if he doesn't want to. He has bodily trauma himself. He's a person too. So
that's a great one, April. I've seen parents. Yeah, I've seen parents enact that one, and I fully support that. I've worked with families who kind of have asked me to like, oh, he should have to. It's his aunt. He needs to hug them when he gets here, and I'm like, no, actually, we're going to teach boundaries, and he can say no, thank you, and that's so important. That's a great one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, these are all big ones.
What's in the glass? Someone asked in the chat. Who was it? Was it Daddy?
Daniel.
I think they all heard the pour. So there you go. All right.
Let's flip that. What is something really that you loved about your childhood that you want to recreate with your kids, or you wish was maybe more common? Because a lot of things I think that we did as kids are maybe viewed differently now.
So go ahead.
No, you go.
So shameless plug for my book, because who would I be as an author if I wasn't talking about my book at least once an hour? But I wrote this book called Talk With Her, which is all about father-daughter relationships, but it's really about parent-child relationships through the lifespan. And I always say that it's like half research and then pulling a lot of stuff directly from my parents' playbook. But one of the things that they were really good at is reclaiming weeknight time. So they didn't live for the weekends, and they both worked, and it wasn't like, okay, it's Friday night now, like the fun begins. It was like, we have tickets for the Laker game on Wednesday night. So if you have a calculus test on Thursday, that means that you have to study at school and you have to get everything done, and you can look at your notes in the car, but we are going to the Laker game from 8 to 10 or whatever it is, and we will be home at 11. Or after my practices or after my play practices or my voice lessons, whatever it was, my dad and mom would often take me out to a really late dinner. And I just think that, my mom would always cook special meals during the week, even though she worked. And I know that's, being a working mom myself, seems like a little bit of a stretch at times. I don't know how she did it exactly. However, it's making all of that weeknight time special too, because I think that's really important for the entire family unit. And my dad used to pull me out of school once a year. Oh, there it is. My dad used to pull me out of school once a year as a surprise from the time I was 0 to 18. And he would just pull me out of school on a random day and take me to Disneyland because I grew up in LA. And so I just think reclaiming that weeknight time is really important. So we try to do really fun things on the weeknights.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
It helps your brain prioritize. You're not beating to the weekend. It helps everybody relax because we're not stuck in the wheel.
No, I love that, because one thing I talk to people about, anybody who knows me knows I'm extremely busy. I have a lot going on, and I'm a full-time student also at 40, which I don't recommend. It's very exhausting. But what people don't get is part of the reason it appears that I'm busy all the time is because there are certain times that are just off limits for anybody but my family.
Uh-huh.
So weeknights, I'm with my family, and maybe we're just watching TV. Maybe we're doing something fun. Maybe we're going out to dinner, but it's just not open. We're not going to have an appointment that night because I'm busy. And so I think that's really great. Doug says lies. Okay, one Wednesday a month. One Wednesday a month I am booked on the Cult Bar.
He's kid. I kid.
You're about to say something about like what you want to maybe carry forward, or
my parents were pretty big into travel, and my husband and I are very we love traveling. We just love it, and even if it means taking our kids out of school. And so we are kind of like even if it doesn't fall into the summer or Christmas winter holiday, we've chosen to do that. And I think that's something that we try to tell the kids, school's important. You need to be doing well, but at the same time, you're learning a lot from these trips that we're going on. We're going to learn. We try to go to different places so that they can experience things that aren't just suburbia Florida. So
it is important.
Yeah, I mean, we were very lucky. We went to Ireland for about 11 days a year ago, and them experiencing that, and just the different houses we stayed in, and all of us trying to figure out how to run the laundry was just an experience. So it was.
My in-laws are in the UK, and they have the in-kitchen, all-in-one washing dryer, whatever. I hate it. It doesn't do anything as well as it should, but yeah, it is a challenge.
I thought it was the dishwasher for a while, and I'm like, what is happening? It was just fun. But it was also just great for them to hear people with another accent, something that's different, for them to, see different roads and different styles of homes and cultures, and those things are important to us. So
yeah. I'm going to co-sign that. My husband still has a bit of an accent, and the number of people that just short circuit when they hear it, like he's incomprehensible, and it's barely there anymore. He's been here for over 20 years. I'm like, you guys need to watch more varied television or
something.
Like travel around a little bit, because it's not that hard.
They picked up a bunch of really fun words. So they called rubbish. They called garbage rubbish for like a month afterwards. So I loved that. And my older son, he pulled me aside and he's like, just to be clear, when they say feck, does that mean that the thing in R? He didn't want to say it, but he was like trying to get there. And I was like, yes, it does. And no, you can't say it. Because they pronounced it differently. But he was like, wait, is that the same word?
Well, the very important difference between when Americans say fanny and when people from the UK and Ireland say fanny. It's a very important difference. It means very
different things. Yes. Even just I've learned from one of my friends who's over in UK, just the peace sign can mean different if it's different ways in their
Oh.
Yeah, it means
good
very
to know because I do peace sign all the time.
this way is good.
Word is bad.
Bad.
Oh, okay.
Don't do that. Which it is kind of like, yeah, who's like that? Usually
Like,
people are
the early 2000s duck face. I mean, just don't do that at all.
Yeah, don't do that. We moved past that for a reason. But yeah, she asked that because I remember I sent a picture where I was like doing this, and she was like, ma'am. Sorry.
Oops.
Yeah, that's ours. Travel, even if it means missing
I
school.
like that both of you mentioned kind of not being overly concerned with school days. Now, obviously concerned a little bit, but what I've noticed is it seems like schools go they're a little more strict about attendance than they used to be. And I'm always like, are you kidding me? My kids got like A's and B's. It's okay if they miss one day to just not be there. Like,
yeah,
Same.
I think it really just depends on the school. I'm an educator, and having grown up the way that I did, I still like had a love of education, but it was also, family time is more important. Now, my friends, for instance, my best friend lives in Germany, and you can't do that there. They'll come after you. Like, they will, yeah. Like, apparently she was like, you can get written up. You can't just leave school if you're not sick. You need to be in school. You can only travel during holidays.
But don't they have more travel than I feel like some of the other countries I've been to prioritize holiday time more than we do.
You may have more holiday time.
yeah, that's true. So if you could take a month off with your kids in the summer, it would be very different, I think.
Yeah. Like we went to
Yeah.
I mean, we went to Costa Rica and we didn't book a hotel ahead of time because YOLO. I don't know. And we didn't know that apparently when we traveled that the majority of the country is off work. Like it is a national, like it's a holiday and it's like for a month. So we had a hard time finding a place to stay. This was before we had children, thankfully. So we were okay, like safe wise, but it was just it was like, wait, the whole country's on break.
That's amazing. We need that in the US. Bad.
And it was for like 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks.
Wow. That was it. So when we went to Kuwait, it was interesting because everything shuts down during the day because it's so hot. But we live in the desert, and it's not actually hotter there than it is here. And nobody here gives a crap. It's like, no, you're gonna be at work in the middle of the day. You're gonna run your errands, whatever. Whereas in Kuwait, everything shuts down from like 11 a.m. until like after 3 or 4 in the afternoon. And you'll see, like, we arrived in the middle of the night, and there were families getting pizza and going to the beach at like 2 a.m. because the weather was good. And I'm like, man, this is actually really smart because I'm miserable all summer at home. It's 120 degrees at home too, but I still have to go grocery shopping and be at work and be in a hot car. Like,
right?
Super interesting.
Could Florida get that memo? Because
right?
Yeah, actually, so she's been on this Lauren, who's been on the podcast with the guys before. I posted something about working out, and it felt like 95 in Florida, which any Floridian is going to go, okay, that's most of the year. And she was like, oh my gosh, how you're working out and it's 95. And I'm like, girl, we're on preheat mode.
Right.
Like, we're not even in the triple digits. Like, this is nice.
I walk my dog at 9 p.m. when it's 95 degrees at night where I live in the summer.
The idea of our state shutting down if it was too hot, I'm like, we would never reopen.
Yeah.
When I was in high school, I lived.
Oh, sorry.
I went to high school in a building that was a historic landmark, and it didn't have any air conditioner in Los Angeles. So Los Angeles is typically really balmy, at least when I was growing up, but it's heated up like everywhere. But I remember my first week of high school, and they got on the intercom to the entire school, and they're like, "Good morning. We've called all of your parents and told them to come get you because it's just too hot to be here." And they just canceled school because it was a little hot and there was no air conditioner.
That blows my mind as somebody who lives in the middle of the Mojave Desert.
Yeah.
But Doug is correct. At 65 degrees, I'm in a hoodie. For sure.
I responded and I said, yes, we are, Doug. Because
Yeah.
you're those crazy people that are running around on our beaches when it's 60 degrees, like in the water. And we're all like,
Yeah. Yes. When I moved to the desert, I thought I would never acclimate. And then like by year 2, I was like, I'm sitting outside all day in the middle of summer because I want to be outside. I need my vitamin D. So April, is there anything that you really want to make sure that you're introducing or keeping alive that's similar to your childhood?
Yes, I'm sorry. My son is wrestling with the camera.
That's all right.
My mom was really good about theme nights. So like on Wednesday, she would like let me cook, so to speak. Like, so she would chop, I got to mix and put it in the pot. So I've already tried to do that with Isaiah, which he really enjoys, which I'm thoroughly gonna keep that going. And then Friday was pizza and a movie. Not necessarily that we would order pizza, but we would like make the dough from scratch and that whole experience while making our own pizza, and she let me pick a movie. So just like quality one-on-one time. Super important to me to have that with him because it's like some of the best memories I've had with my mom. So definitely want to do that.
You're making me think back to when my kid was little and like all the cute little pictures of filling the mixing bowl that was like his brother, you know.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's good stuff. And also don't even apologize for anything that Isaiah is like interfering. That's literally the Mother's Day show. Like we're not doing that. That's not allowed tonight.
Thank you. Going back to Kimmy, because I'm an Angelino, no one sued when they called your parents to pick you guys up from school.
No,
I'm shocked. Home of the we sue.
No, they went over. We were all stoked. We went to the beach. Yeah.
See, I grew up in Central California, and it was way hotter and nastier in the summer there than it is in LA. But what we got sent home early for is that we lived off of this major creek that feeds off the Merced River, and it would overflow from time to time. And so we would get off school early when the creek rose. Very
nice.
like old timey. Like we're in the South during the Depression. The creek has risen. We must go.
We would get, when there would be too much rain because there wasn't really good drainage. So our friends from the East Coast would crack up because they would come visit us. I remember this was happening in college, and it would rain, and I'd be like, we have to cancel our reservations, like wherever, like for dinner or whatever we were doing. I was like, well, we can't go anywhere. It's raining, and they're like, what are you talking about? And then we would hit the streets, and there was no plan there. The drainage is terrible in LA and places, but they just put up a cone. So there's just like cones all over the streets at that time.
Yeah, where we grew up had that terrible drainage too. So it would be like flooded in one part of town and like coming up out of the sewer drain in another part of town. Like
I still call in work if it's raining. Just saying. April's not coming to work.
Do you live in LA now, April?
Yeah, I'm in Los Angeles, and we don't know how to drive, period, but let it be wet.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
My parents would stay home. My mom would she's in real estate. She would cancel showings. My dad wouldn't go to his meetings. Yeah.
my town has a massive transplant population, much like LA, but also because we have the military base. And so there's a lot of people who are like, Californians don't know how to drive in the rain. And so they'll try and go like 80 down the highway. But here, our ground is so hard because it's the literal desert. Nothing gets absorbed. So you could like hydroplane doing 25 here. And so it's actually like, I don't stay home because I didn't know how to drive in it. I stay home because there's people from like somewhere where it rains a lot thinking that it's the same in a place that doesn't ever rain. And it's terrifying out there. Like,
Mm-hmm.
It rains here all the time. So
yeah.
It takes a literal hurricane to keep me off the road.
I'm in Houston and it does flood. I mean, when we first moved here over a decade ago, we were out with friends one night and there was this massive downpour. And we were just watching it out of the windows. We were like, wow, this rain is so pretty. It's so cool. It's so intense. And then we tried to drive home and we ended up driving. We had to like drive down the street and then make a turn into our driveway across like in oncoming traffic. So we had to drive across 2 lanes into the driveway for our apartment complex. And like there was a moment, like I just stepped on it, which I didn't realize was the right thing to do because I was clearing water out of my engine. But that water was like way too deep for me to be driving through. And at one point I was like, okay, we are floating, but we like made it into the driveway. It was but didn't do that again. Ever.
I've hydroplaned once and it was absolutely terrifying. I don't recommend it. Don't do it. I had to highlight Daniel's comment about, the 6 inches of snow people, because my town will shut down with like an inch of snow. And everybody from places where it snows a lot gets really high on their horse about it. And it's like, right, but do you have snowplows? Because we don't have snowplows. Do you have
Florida has no snowplows.
So it snows here once or twice a year, and if it sticks at all, things get really sketchy, and all of my friends like get really judgy. Like, it's like, yeah, but you guys have infrastructure for snow. We have infrastructure for it being 120 degrees. That's what we have.
We have infrastructure for water, so certain places flood, like Disney. Because it was built on a literal swamp. So it floods during a normal rainy day. But it takes a hurricane to keep us off the roads. Now, snow, no, you wouldn't see me for weeks.
Right?
No.
So Greg is prompting us to ask April about her YouTube channel. If you're good right now.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm just getting back in the swing of things, and I've kind of transitioned it into like a mommy channel where I talk about being a new mom and my journey and tips and tricks and stuff I wish that I knew that no one told me about when you become a mom. So it's been a real blessing. Isaiah is such a blessing, and it's really cool to connect with other new moms, and we kind of share and feed off of each other and a little community going. So yeah, I really like my YouTube. Before it was kind of like a hobby, and now it's more like a community I'm building on YouTube. So I really, really enjoy talking to other moms.
And I don't think we talk enough about how isolating it can be to be a new mom.
Yeah.
If you stay at home, you're not getting your like interaction you're used to maybe getting at work. If you work, then your whole life becomes work, and then getting home and spending time with the brand new baby that needs everything, because kids can't really do anything for themselves for years. So I think that's really great when you're building a community, because I remember like I'm a very extroverted person, and I'm usually really good at like creating the opportunity to be around people, have fun, whatever. And I remember it felt so draining to just be like excluded, and not because anyone was doing anything wrong, but it's just like nobody tells you that it's going to be like that.
Yeah.
Like everybody's like, well, you can just make it work. Cool moms make it work. It's like, yeah, but sometimes you can't, no matter how cool you are. The baby's sick or whatever, So that's awesome.
I love that you said. Okay. I was gonna say, I love that you said that you're like telling people about things that no one told you, because I will not forget the first year of having a child. I went from being this accomplished person in my career field and feeling like I know what I'm doing in life to Googling something every day and feeling like I have no clue what I'm doing at all. And I hope this kid survives. And so just having a resource of people to be like, it's okay not to know. And these things help. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think
it's important. That tells you is that kids are like on a constant mission to die.
Yes. Like I said before, Isaiah thinks he's Spider-Man. Like I didn't realize till I became a mom, kids have zero fear. Like zero. Like we encountered like Cujo. I swear to God, yesterday he was like, "Oh, puppy!" like running towards it, and I'm like, "No!"
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he has zero fear, and I think that's like something that there's certain things I didn't realize. You don't realize until you have a kid. Like, everyone talks about the first 3 months are the hardest, you're never going to sleep, and they don't talk about sleep regression. It happens at 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, and a year. So you kind of go a year without any sleep. As soon as you get on a routine, there's a sleep regression. Didn't know that. That's fun. So, like, little things like that you don't kind of realize or know until you actually become a mom or a parent. I'll say that. Won't exclude it to moms.
What do you think the biggest thing no one told you that you had to learn on your own has been so far?
Mood swings, postpartum depression, and mood swings. Postpartum depression is a beast.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's talked about. I think it's kind of like taboo to talk about. But it's so real and so important that you have a support system and you speak to women who have been through it, or people that have been through it. And it's kind of treated like a hush hush thing, where I think it should be completely opposite. I think if we talked about it more and got more educated on it, it would help parents, both mom and dad, when someone may be going through it. But things like that, like emotional things, mood swings are real. I think I was like Freddy Krueger, swear to God, the first like 6 months of pregnancy. You go through ups and downs, and you're really happy, but then you get really nervous and scared because, like, you're going to be someone's mom for life. So a lot of emotions, and I don't think people always kind of romanticize having a baby, where it's always bubbly and, like, not always like that. And that's okay.
You're sleep deprived and terrified that you're going to do something wrong. And also, like I said, and like from birth to maybe like 25, kids are just like, their whole mission in life is to see if they can survive things that shouldn't be survivable.
Right. I totally agree with that. Very true.
That's a great question. And we'll start with April. What do you think has been important for you to maintain your identity as being more than just a mom? Not that that's bad, but obviously we're whole people, right?
Yeah. I think definitely I'm very blessed to have a great support system. When I first became a mom, I want to say those first 4 months, I felt guilty asking for help. And I felt guilty for wanting alone time. Even though I had, people around me that were happy to take Isaiah or even come over while, I slept or just had alone time. Those first 4 months, I was like, I shouldn't want to be away from my baby type of mentality.
Because I remember when you talked about.
Yeah. So it's just, I think it's important to have April time. I was April before Isaiah. So, it's good for me to get out and be with my friends. And sometimes I just have a date night on my own. Like, I just go to the bar and have, a nice glass of wine and see a movie, or I'll go read a book at, a nice park, just an hour by myself, just to reconnect with myself, if that makes sense.
No, I love that. It makes perfect sense to me. How about you, Kimmy?
Honestly, I think time. I think that, like, when you have little kids early, I feel like there is a brain thing there. I mean, I was like really all consumed, and my book came out right after my second kid. So I definitely had a big thing going on for my own identity then. But so I feel like I'm just will always work. Like I'm a creator and I like to do things. But I also find just in general, just working out just keeps my mind clear and helps me compartmentalize. And I do think there's a lot of like stress on moms, and I'm like an internet mom too, right? Like I'm like in the parenting online vortex. And I think that even though I'm an expert in that space, I'm also in that. So I think there's like a lot of pressure and a lot of parenting advice. And so I work out to just keep my mind clear and stay in my lane.
Good one.
I would agree. I felt a lot of what April was saying. I felt a lot of guilt about leaving my child, even if they were in perfectly good hands. I mean, I never looked at my husband as like babysitting our kids like that. He's their father. He can take care of them just as well as I can. But there was still almost like this guilt of like, I'm going to miss something, or what if something happens and I know where the pacifier, all those crazy things you think of. And I had a lot of guilt to do anything on my own. It has definitely gotten easier as I've gotten older, and I know like they can, advocate for themselves, but basically carving out time for myself, whether it's to work out or go to a girls' night, or saying, to my husband, hey, I'm going to go to a convention with my friend this weekend, and I probably won't be around much, like Friday to Sunday, but you have fun.
Yeah.
and really just letting myself enjoy that time, and knowing that like my kids are totally fine and they're having a blast and I'm having a blast, and then I'm able to come back and I'm able to be a very happy and present mom because I was able to recharge. Because it's not, I didn't come up with this, but like I can't fill their cups if mine is empty. I can't be what they need if I'm run dry and I'm just totally burnt out. So I need to do what I need to do to be a happy and productive mom. And
There is a lot of pressure to figure out how to do that, even though it's impossible. So I'm really glad you mentioned that. It's so funny talking about mom guilt, because I remember I had to deal with this whole wild situation with the Social Security office, and I was staying with my mom. So I left my toddler, like 5 or 6 years old even, with my mom, and I went to the nearest Social Security office, which was in Salinas, which is a beautiful place. And I went in, I had my appointment, and then I had to wait the whole day and go back. So I went to Cannery Row, and I was at the beach, and I was having a nice time. I felt so guilty the whole time, even though the only reason I was there was to deal with like the most painful experience in the world, which is dealing with the Social Security office. And I just remember that being a moment for me where I was like, this is not normal. You should not feel guilty because you're having a nice break in between sitting at the Social Security office all day. And I think for me, it was like my kid was like 6 or 7, around the time where I felt like I was fully back to myself, and being mom was a fully integrated part of that, and not like this battle to find enough of that free time or enough of the mom time, or like worrying if I'm getting the balance wrong. I think it was like 6 or 7 where I was like, okay, no, like I got this. I'm me. We're good.
Mm-hmm. I do think it's so normal, though. I think part of maintaining identity is realizing that a lot of us have those thought processes and being like, okay, like, I mean, I have that too. Like, I'm like, I can leave the house. My kids are fine. Like, I can leave, but like something inside me is like, you can't leave the house. And I think that's like biological. So it's also about like separating, that biological predisposition to like our current reality, which is like, yes, you can leave the house, and yes, it's okay. And also I think there's a lot of like moms in previous generations who really painted motherhood in a different way. I think it's also like they weren't talking about it in the same way. Like, it's like, oh, it's so easy. Like, you should just love every single minute of it. So sweet. Yeah. And I think that, I think there's a lot of pressure in that. And I also think that factually speaking, their reality was different. Like, I had my first baby in March of 2020 and my second baby in the middle of Omicron. And so
when you said your kids' ages, yeah, wow.
Yeah. And it was like glorious in many ways because we spent every minute of the first year with our first kid, and we've had a lot of flexibility since then. But like the old rules didn't really apply to, safety and letting go and letting your kids experience things. Cause I was like, no, nobody's allowed to breathe near my child for the first 365 days. And no, I actually can't relax and let go. I just can't do that. So I think it's also, it's like, what is our reality? What is our predisposition? So, and I think we all fight that. And like, I said, like I wrote a book on this, like, we're all parenting experts in a way. And like, I'm just trying not to fall into all the same traps I write about.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to highlight Daniel's comment. Pop culture models back in the day, Donna Reed, for example, don't fit into modern realities. And I just wanted to comment on that because they didn't fit into the reality of the time either, right? The joke.
They didn't.
Right before I came on, my husband said, well, what are you going to drink? Because he knows, like SpeakEasy, whatever. And I was like, well, if I really wanted to be on theme, I'd take a Valium. Because that was Mother's Little Helper back in the day. And that remains true decades. And for some subcultures, that is still true. You get through parenting on Adderall and Valium. You get your shit done on one drug and you get to sleep on the other one. So I think it is important to remember that even at the time that these ideas were being like put on a pedestal of the housewife who gets it all done and makes perfect dinner and all of that, like the vast
And is
majority
smiling, vacuuming in pearls as her husband
Yes.
gets home.
right.
Full
Well, I
face
was prescribed Valium once because I can't handle narcotics or opiate painkillers, and I was in a really weird, awful accident. So they gave me Valium, and I was like, oh, I get it. Like I could be a 1950s housewife on this.
This is great. I mean, I agree, and I've been very brutally honest with my two sister-in-laws, my husband's, brothers' wives, because they have had children after us, and they've asked, like what's it like, and I said honestly, I didn't enjoy babyhood, toddlerhood. I love it for other people. I'm glad they're going through it. Yeah, you're gonna get, it was very draining. It's a very demanding position because it's constant give. It is 100% everything toward that little person and very little coming back.
Yep.
Yeah.
And April's like, and I remember traveling. We traveled across the country and we had a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, and people would just tell us, with older kids, they were like, you're in the thick of it. You're going to get through it, but you're in the thick of it. And I remember looking back and I'm like, we were like that. It was just, you have 2 in diapers and they don't, I will admit that it was not my favorite stage. And I feel like that in general too, when you admit that to people, they're like, oh, did you not like your kids? And I'm like, no. I love my kids.
Yeah.
But that wasn't my favorite stage. And I don't feel like as a parent, I don't feel like it was just my best time. Like, I was just trying to give any scrap that I had at that point.
I think people
I was not filling my tank. I was not taking care of myself, and I was not filling my tank at that time.
I think people mistake the way they feel when they see someone else's baby for the way they felt when they had a baby.
Yeah.
It's like I'm seeing April's baby and I'm so thrilled. Isaiah is adorable. I love all of the little trouble he's getting into and all of it. And I know that you're stressed out, so I'm not gonna like go over the top on this because you're like, girl. But I love seeing other people's babies. I will hold other people's babies, but you know what the really cool thing about other people's babies are?
You can give them back.
Yeah, at 1:00 in the morning, they aren't your responsibility.
Yeah.
If they're in a sleep regression, it's not your problem. If they've decided that they need to eat every 60 minutes, that's not your problem.
Yeah.
It's your baby. All of that is your problem. And also, you have people giving you crazy mixed advice that doesn't line up if you put them together. You have people telling you that it's supposed to be the best time of your life. And you're like, I haven't slept a full night in 6 months. I don't know when the last time I had a shower was. What are you talking about? I had a very traumatic and awful medical experience giving birth. And my husband was in another country. I had to deal with a lot of the early stuff on my own. And a lot of that is the reason I have one baby, because it was just that hard. And I always thought I was going to have 2 or 3 kids. But by the end of having to do it on my own, just the idea that it could be harder. I could have a baby that slept less or was not as happy, or God forbid something happened where my husband couldn't be there again. I was like, I can't possibly imagine doing that again. But I love other people's babies. I think babies are wonderful when they're not mine. I loved it when you start to see real personalities emerge, because there's like set personalities for babies. Like they have a temperament more than a personality. But when you start to see your individual child's personality coming out, like that's when I really love being a mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would also add that it's hard. I think moms are naturally the hardest on ourselves because we're always critiquing ourselves and our mothering skills. But it's really hard when other people do it.
Oh, yes.
So I had to kind of set boundaries with his father's mom, because she would. I wanted to totally be the breastfeeding mom. I wanted to be solely solely breastfeed. That was like my plan. I had all the things. I had a doula, everything. And the journey was hard. Breastfeeding, again, something that people don't tell you, breastfeeding is really, really hard and draining. And I got to a point where it's like I'm miserable and frustrated because I'm not producing enough for him. So I have to switch to formula. And you would not imagine how guilty people made me feel. Or, oh no, you have to keep trying. You have to do it. You have to keep trying. And it's like I'm miserable. I'm sore. I'm already sleep deprived. I'm not being the best April, so I can't be the best mom. If I'm, and I don't need you telling me, oh, I hate the term, you're a first time mom. That's such a first time mom answer. That's such a first time mom. Like, I want to strangle people that say that because it's so condescending.
I wish my mom was around for you. My mom, her main thing about breastfeeding was she's from Brooklyn, and she's like, you don't get a medal for breastfeeding. Over and over and over again. Over and over and over again. My whole life. He's like, you don't get a medal for breastfeeding. And then when I had my baby, he actually was like really interested in it, and it was kind of working, but I couldn't do it anyway because it was the pandemic and no one could teach me how, and no one could come near me, and I didn't have the parts. I couldn't even rent a pump. And I was like, you know what? We're going to be okay. But yeah. I know the pressure. I'm sorry that you went through that, April.
It's okay.
That is hard. Yeah. I never made enough for my kiddo. He drank like a big gulp every day. So I never made enough. And I supplemented and then just kind of stopped after a while.
Yeah.
And one of the things that made me stop is I worked as a teacher before I had my children, and then I'm a therapist. So I'm in classrooms, and I was kind of talking with a teacher, and she was asking me, she was a mom, and I expressed to her, I said, I feel like I'm, failing him because I'm not able to make enough. And she said, look around this classroom. Can you tell me which children are breastfed and which aren't? And I was like, oh, nope. Okay.
Yeah.
Were you the one you said you had a doula?
Yes.
Yeah. So I was briefly a doula. And one of the reasons I didn't stay a doula is because there's like a little bit of a radicalization that happens in that sphere where what being a doula taught me was like, women really should just do what works for them and their baby. And they should be healthy and happy, and whatever their opinion is, whatever their preference is, like that's the right answer.
Yep.
Because I did manage, and it wasn't easy, but I did manage to exclusively breastfeed for 18 months. I thought I was going to go to 2 years. By a year, I was like, we're going to start introducing other stuff. We're going to start working our way out of this, because people don't realize until they've done it how much, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally draining it is to have your body be in use for someone else all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you're not breastfeeding, that's true, right? Because your baby wants you to hold them. Your baby wants you to rock them to sleep, all of that. And so it's so important, I think, to encourage women to do whatever is right. Like if you ever want to try at all and it makes you feel icky, then don't. Who cares? We live in a wonderful time where formula is so healthy and complete that the differences are so minuscule that you should do whatever works for you. And if you love it, do it. And if you hate it, then don't. That's what I wish people would say to me.
Yeah.
Moms.
I mean,
Exactly.
I'm thank God for my mom, because she was like, April, Isaiah is healthy. He's being fed. That's what's important. Not the source, that he's being fed and he's getting his nutrients. But it's like and when I talk to moms, it's like, I went through that too. So I didn't know it was like a thing to make a mom feel guilty because she couldn't or didn't want to breastfeed solely. So
yeah.
And then too, sometimes the kids, my older son, he lost interest. Once we started introducing solids to him, he could not get enough. Like everything we ate, he was reaching for at the table. And so it got to a point where he just, the milk component became so minuscule that he's like, I don't want your milk. I want that. I want what you're eating.
Yeah.
So there's also that component of, taking the lead from the kids of, hey, if they're ready to start eating solid foods, cool.
Yeah.
And I had one child that was, gobbling down food at, a very young age before he even had like his teeth in. And then I had another kid who we were trying to do, the purees and all those things. And he basically forced us to do baby-led weaning, whether we wanted it or not. And so he wanted only solid food and he wanted to like gum it to death, and we went with that. And he liked it. And they both eat perfectly fine now. So you know what? It all works out.
Yeah, I'm just highlighting Greg's comment because it says it all. Feed them.
Feed them.
However you need to, however they want it. Make sure they're fed. That's the most important thing. There's so much pressure. I feel like, especially for new moms and first-time moms who are getting our information from a lot of sources, who know what we're doing, there's so much pressure to do everything perfectly. And the secret is that that's not a thing. There's no one answer. Even for one kid, there's not one answer. So,
yeah. I mean, even the kids, we've had 2 boys. They're both our children, and they could not be more different.
yeah.
In every single way. One of them had colic and was the worst sleeper. And the other one at, 2 months old, I was like waking him up in the crib to be like, please eat. You should be eating right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Who knows?
The friend I mentioned who has a 1-year-old right now, she has 3 children that are significantly older. When my child was a baby and would not sleep, would not nap, would not ever give me a break, it was like, oh, Auntie Val is going to come over and that baby's going to sleep. Thank God. Right. And none of her kids were bad sleepers and none of them were clingy. And it was just, it was like, oh, she has a gift. The one she has now, no, totally different personality. This baby doesn't want to sleep. This baby wants to be on mom all the time. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but you had 3 really good sleepers who didn't really need a lot from you. And this is what you have sown. And now you're reaping. Now you get to know what it's like for everybody else.
It's your turn.
Accurate. I definitely didn't come up with it. My husband and I share it all the time because it's this thing where it's like, my first kid gave me the confidence that like, I'm a good parent. Look at me go. And my second kid is a no limit soldier that likes to climb stuff and swear. And I'm like, yeah.
That was my first kid. And that's the other reason I didn't have 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
Finding my IKEA bookshelves in the living room while I'm trying to like quickly put a snack together. And I'm just like, what is happening?
I mean, my second child has an album on my phone that is titled Gavin Get Down, because at like 4 months old, he was on a table and stuff. And,
yeah,
he's made it. He's 8 now. And so now it's just, now I'm like, well, at least he's not on the roof, guys.
Right. Well, so not to terrify April, but I guess maybe that's the next obvious topic is what is the craziest Evel Knievel thing your kid has done? Because I remember being in the kitchen and hearing mom, and I'm like, hold on. And I came out and my, barely walking baby was at the top of my IKEA bookshelf, like holding on by fingertips and toe tips. So what's the most terrifying thing that one of your children did, Evel Knievel wise?
I mean, we have a magnolia tree in the front of our house that is 40 feet tall.
Oh boy.
And when were we when we moved in? He was probably 5 when he climbed to the top of it. And he likes to like catcall our neighbors. He'll be like, hey, Abby, like from the top of it. And so you'll be out front and you hear him and you're like, and I'm like, he's up there. He's in the top of the magnolia tree. It's fine.
Oh
and my neighbors probably think I'm the worst mom because they're just like, she lets him do that? I'm like, you go get him.
Yeah. Have you tried not letting him do it? Because I haven't figured it out. Right.
Yeah.
Maybe how about
my
your
kids?
kids?
I'll just find them standing on top of the couches, like from a really early age. They love to climb. I mean, they love to climb everything. They climb really high. They will climb anything at the parks, but our house is pretty kid friendly and I thought ahead on a lot of that, but it is like just kind of standing on furniture and like jumping or, top of stairs, like, just can't. My older one, he'll let us know too if the younger one is like doing something. He's like, Mommy.
That's my older one. My older one is like the rule following, law abiding citizen.
But one thing I feel like with my kids is that I really feel what's amazing about them is I kind of feel like they're leading me. Like if it was up to me, like nobody would go anywhere. Like nobody would climb anything or like jump on anything or like I'm not great at that. Are they standing on the couch yelling like in Lion King? Somewhat. And the world is their kingdom. The world is absolutely their kingdom. Yeah, I mean, it's just, I feel like they're like, Mommy, it's okay. If I have like a reason to tell them not to do something that they find to be reasonable, they'll stop. And that's the truth. Is like, if I'm like, you can't do that because it's not safe. And they're like, a lot of times they're like, okay, and they'll stop.
Okay.
But a lot of times they're like, it's okay, Mommy. I'm going to be okay. And they will just flat out be like, you need to stop worrying about this. And they're really too little to to articulate it even, but that's what they're telling me. They're like, I'm fine. I'm being careful.
I have
And I'm
that.
like, okay.
That battle with myself to draw back the overprotectiveness when mine was little. Like, no, that child is not going to die. No, that incredibly specific worst case scenario you have dreamt up in this moment is not likely to happen. Like, I had to constantly be pulling it back. And I think I was lucky to have a husband who was reasonable, but also didn't think like that. So I could trust that if he was doing it or he was allowing it, that I was probably giving into the anxiety and it was probably going to be fine.
I feel that because when Isaiah does jump off of things and like I give him a reaction, then he falls back and he cries. Or if I don't react, he doesn't react. So I had to learn that the hard way. My mom's kind of been coaching me on that because I'm like, everything he does, I'm like, Isaiah. Like I have to scream him across the room.
But also, like, that's gotta be nature. You know what I mean? Like, I'll be like, oh! And it's like, I'm sorry. I just saw somebody like fall over and hit their head. Like, what am I gonna be like?
Yeah,
it's fine.
And I feel like that's like a little unrealistic. Like, I can try, but like, I'm human. They're like, you can't react. I'm like, you try not to react.
try
that.
not react.
Like you learn that because when I was a baby, you reacted to me and then it made it worse. That's how you tell me not to do it. So how easy was it for you to not do it?
Right.
I don't think I react severely because my younger one that does that is a mini me. And I grew up hearing all the stories of what I did to give my mom heart attacks. And I remember doing a lot of them. So when he does stuff, I'm just kind of like, ha, good job. High five. And so my mom had told me, because she survived raising me, she's like, part of your job is going to be teaching him how to do dangerous things safely and survive it. And yeah, and I mean there have been plenty of times where I go, oh, okay, he's fine.
My dad made a really good point where he was like, you have to let him fall because he has to learn how to safely fall.
Yep.
If you're constantly catching him or preventing him when he does fall, he might hurt himself, truly hurt himself. So it's hard to let them fall sometimes, but it's for their own good.
It is ironic that we're at, like, biologically or socially or whatever, our most protective when our children are the most like, we really need to be more protective when they're getting into like the teenage years when bones can actually break and like permanent damage can be done.
Oh, we've already had the broken bone thing, so check.
Yeah.
We don't even know how it happened either. So that's,
like
really
a stress or something.
Yeah. And we were really great parents. So we took him to Disney and we didn't know he had a broken foot.
Oh.
Until a couple days later, we were like, oh, that's why you wanted to sit in the stroller. We don't know. From what they understood, it probably happened over time of him repeatedly jumping out of the tree.
Yeah.
So yeah, our amazing neighbor was our like foot and ankle specialist and got us in and got us taken care of and all that good stuff. But yeah, he's broken his foot. He's had the boot thing on, and I told my husband.
Bad mom though, Heather, because when you said that, the first thing I thought is I was like, oh, that's like when you have a working breed dog.
Fine.
Yeah, like they hide it, and so you think everything's fine, and then by the time you notice, it's like, oh no, it's
No.
pretty bad.
I mean, it was never swollen. It was never black and blue. It was just, he just sort of like complained of like, oh, it kind of hurts on the top of my foot. And we were like, okay, well, like you're limping. And then I was like, well, I was like, we need to go get this x-rayed. And sure enough, little broken foot.
Yeah,
Hello.
stuff like that is wild.
Tiniest little boot. It was adorable.
It does sound really cute. Unfortunately, it's very cute when kids have casts. Like it shouldn't be, but it is.
And he was, and the funny part too was, so the doctor lived next door to us, and as he was telling me he shouldn't run or jump or climb, he literally started laughing at me while he said that, as like, good luck. And every time he'd pull up from work and like see him like swinging out of the tree with the boot on, he would just laugh and be like,
That's also like having a working breed dog. I'm going to stick with this actually.
it's very relatable. So yeah, I mean, and the way I kind of looked at it, I was like, well, if the orthopedic specialist next door doesn't seem worried, I guess I shouldn't be.
Right. And even if it was something to desperately worry about, there's only so much that's in your control, right?
Yeah. I mean, the thought of trying to keep this kid tethered to a couch and not moving would have driven all of us insane. So I was like, you know what, get it out. And when he would go to swing out of the tree, I'd run over and grab him and be like, we're not dropping.
Try not to jump out on your broken foot, please.
And my mom laughed because I broke my arm snowboarding as a teenager, and I then convinced my mom that I could ski the rest of the week, because I told her, I'm like, well, it's already in a cast.
Right, it's fine now.
What more is going to happen? Yeah. So
I can break it twice. Although
right.
I learned the whole way you can absolutely break a bone twice. I did that in my night between being 19 and 20. I broke the same bone twice. So.
I didn't know that argument. I was a little kid, so I was like, why? It's casted.
I mean, obviously, if I had known that when I was 19, I wouldn't have done it again when I was 20 while the 19 one was still healing. So, yeah. Speaking of things I tell you, you can absolutely break the same bone twice while it's still healing.
Yes, you can. Pat, for all the new parents out there, enjoy that fact.
Whole episode telling you guys not to worry so much, and then introduce something actually very worrisome right at the end. You're welcome.
Sweet dreams, everyone. Sleep well.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
So let's do that. What's your biggest fear in a practical way? Not like, oh, I'm worried that my kid's going to grow up and be a Republican, but like a practical fear.
I would disown him. I just want to say that.
No, I mean, honestly, I don't know. I worry about climate. I worry about being able to be outside and just like be outside the way when we were kids.
Yeah.
I don't know how practical or impractical. I just don't know. But I do find myself concerned about that.
I do feel like it's a little bit more practical than I'd like to admit. I'll say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just want them to be able to enjoy our world the way that we did. So I hope that they can.
I love that. I was like, let's get heavy, but in a fun way. And you're like, no, we're getting heavy.
Come on, dark.
Heavy in a fun way.
Go all the way
It's
dark.
late. I missed the fun way. Yeah. That's where I'm at.
Hey, no, that's legit. I have a lot of climate anxiety as a parent, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
My older one is a perfectionist, so I worry a lot on him trying to put too much on himself. And we try to, like, again, kind of going back to school grades, we don't really stress like you need A's, we're just, did you try your best mentality. But even then, like I feel like he stresses out if he doesn't do something well, and I worry about like just mental health and him being able to adjust in this world with everything from social media and friends and all that. I just worry about that and him being able to, navigate teenage and young adult years healthily.
Do they
Yeah.
does he have a phone already?
No,
Just wait as long as you
he
can.
he will be getting one because he will be walking to school in middle school. So we will be getting him one. But we have a lot of rules that we've already discussed with him. Like the phone is not to be in your room ever at night. It stays with us. We're allowed to check every aspect of it. Those kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's a scary fact. We've kind of put it off for a while, and
I don't
a
blame
lot
you.
of us, yeah, it's just one of those, like, I don't want to do it, but I know also like all of his friends have them, and
Mm-hmm. It's social capital.
yeah. So
As I mentioned, I went back to school as a grown adult. I do not recommend it, but all my perfectionist tendencies are coming out, and so my crazy balance is trying not to put that on my teenager in high school while I'm actively demonstrating it. It's very, yeah. But my
Do
joke
as I
is,
say, not as I do.
yeah, I'll go to therapy for that after I get into grad school.
You can't
So-
fix everything at once. Like you can't work on
Right.
everything at once.
True.
I'll get the GPA I need to get into the grad school I want to get into, and then I will worry about not worrying about grades.
there it is.
Yeah.
And also, like, they serve a different purpose. You just have to be practical. Teenagers are my people. I spend a lot of time with teenagers, even though I have little kids, because I work with teenagers. And you just be practical and just walk them through it.
Yeah.
That was, they need to understand that. It's like, actually, my grades do matter because this is a next stepping stone for me.
Yeah,
this is
and I think
the
that's
that I
what
need.
with a freshman in high school, which is like, well, now they can matter because they're going to look at those grades, whether we think that they can or not, they're going to. So yeah, it's maybe about finding balance and keeping an eye on when it matters and when it doesn't. I don't think that I'm good at keeping an eye on that for myself. But April, not to get heavy when your baby's so little, but like, what are your practical fears? What is the thing that you worry about?
Whew, I have a lot of fears. Just raising a Black man, I have 1,000,001 fears. But I don't want to carry on the tradition. Like, my mom is the most meek, mild woman you'll ever meet until someone messes with me, and then she's like batshit crazy. And I already feel like I'm like, we were at the playground and the little boy pushed Isaiah, and I was like, "Where's your mom?" Like, instantly. And I don't want to be so crazy that he's like, I can't tell my mom that, she'll get so mad, or my mom will get in trouble because she'll be defending me. So I just want to make sure I raise him that he knows that he can tell me anything at any time, and not put pressure on him. I kind of felt pressure as a little girl. Like, I can't tell my mom that because my mom will go crazy. My mom will, beat up this lady.
The delicate balance between making sure your kids know that you will show up for them,
Right.
but not that they have to feel like
Mommy
coming
will
to
go
you
to jail.
cause a problem. Yeah,
Exactly.
that's delicate.
So I'm trying to navigate that and how to go about that, but I can already see myself, like, when he pushed my baby, I was like, where is your mother?
But at least you went to the mother.
Yes. It's not the baby's fault. That's
In
a
my life,
fault.
I did go off on an actual child, but in my defense, he was staying with me at the time, and I was watching his mother not do anything about him being a bully to his own siblings and my child for months before I lost my shit.
Well, and April, like, yours is a little guy. He can't defend himself. He
Right.
has no ability to set boundaries with others. So, like, you have to be that person right now. And it's
Yeah.
okay.
And
You
it
go
was a
get that
bigger
mom.
kid. Yeah. We had like a whole discussion, because he was like 5 or 6, like, my baby's 1. So I just freaked out. But I just don't want him to ever think he can't tell me something, or I don't want to have that pressure on him where he thinks that I'm going to get in trouble based on something that he shares with me. So
The other thing that's very delicate with kids is learning to, I don't even know if learning is the right word, but like finding the balance between being the mom that they can come to and share with you what's going on with their friends or whatever, and also setting expectations, right? Because I have that a lot where my teenagers telling me things their friends are getting, like trouble they're getting into, and my instinct is to be like, oh, now I get why parents don't let their kids have certain friends. But
Mhm.
my realistic self comes in and is like, right, but did it ever work when your parents told you you couldn't be friends with somebody? And so do I want them to tell me about it, or do I want to be the one who says you can't be friends and they're friends anyway?
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
And isn't
hard.
it crazy how our moms always knew? Like my mom would always be like, I don't like her. She's not your real friend. And then like a couple months later, I'm like, she did this to me. Like, but my mom knew from jump. So
Yeah,
Mhm.
because we've had, you know, 100 years, it feels like, of knowing all different kinds of people with all different kinds of red flags. And as a kid and as a teenager, even, you've had like 10 seconds of that in comparison.
true.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
have to let them figure it out. No matter what we tell them, they're still going to make like head scratching decisions. And then the key is just to over and over and over again say, no matter what you do, or no matter how you think I'm going to react, you can always come to me. You start that like early and you repeat it, as corny as it sounds, like over and over and over again. And then you're the voice in their head.
Mhm.
I teach sex ed. So, and I teach parents how to talk about sex ed and like how to teach those lessons. And that's like the main key for any risk behavior at all.
Hmm.
Because you can tell your kid not to be friends with someone. You can tell them that, you know, a romantic partner is not best for them, but they're still going to figure it out the same way we did.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And we
They
forget
do. They
figured it out.
they do figure it out. We have, you know, we have a great neighborhood, but there are some kids in the neighborhood who don't make the best decisions and kind of, you know, it wouldn't be the friend that I'd be like, I can't wait for my kid to be friends with that kid.
Right.
And there have been times where my son has been like, you know, so and so wants to do this, and I'm like, you know, maybe we need to think about, you know, their decision making. And my son is now, after years of being here in this neighborhood, he's kind of like, yeah, you know, I kind of get when he doesn't make really good decisions, and I kind of just go and let him do his own thing. And I'm like, okay, you know, I could protect my son and just be like, you can't ever hang out with him, you can't ever play with him. But life is learning how to judge people and learning, like, are they making a good decision? Is that safe for me? Because he's going to encounter that for the rest of his life in his social groups. Of just because that's the decision they make doesn't need to be a decision I make. And teaching him that now he's 11 next week, and teaching him that now is, you know, we don't need to exclude someone just because they necessarily make decisions that, like, I'm not going to agree. Yeah, like, it isn't a safe idea, homie.
And I think we need to accept as parents too, is that from a very young age, our kids are in places that we aren't. And that's just a reality of modern living. And so you can say, don't do this or don't hang out with people like that all you want. And they're still going to be in situations where they're going to have to make that decision for themselves with you not there to enforce it. So it's scary and terrible, but true.
Yeah. Giving them tools, that's our job.
Yeah.
So, and hey, you know, he's starting to at 11, and I've told him, I'm like, you don't necessarily have to call him out. Like, I don't expect you to say to him, like, that's not a good idea, or like, they're not at that age. Like, I get it. Most adults can't do that.
That's true.
Right. No, that's true. I feel that.
And I told him,
canon, and some I'm just like, oh, okay.
And I told him, I said, you know, buddy, you know, maybe this is a time where, like, it's okay to tell that white lie and to be like, oh, my mom called me home, I need to go check in. Or, oh, it's been a while, I need to go check in with my mom. Even if you just need to step away for a while, and you can use me as that out. I'm good with that.
I told my 15-year-old, if you are in a situation where your friends are doing something dangerous, doing something you know you shouldn't do, you want an out, you text message me the emoji of a donkey, and I will know you're saying my friends are being jackasses. And I'll call and I'll say, I can't believe you didn't do this or whatever. And then I'll come get you. But then my kid thought it was so funny. They told all their friends.
It ruins the point.
That was a good plan, though. I like that idea. That was like a really good plan.
That is a good plan. I like that. I've had to, like, kind of quasi implement it. Like, I'm out front and I kind of see the situation. Like, it isn't going well, and I'll be like, "Oh, hey bud, like come here. I have a question. I need to ask you something about like your Amazon wish list." And he like runs over all happy like, "Yeah." And then I'm like, "Is he being a jerk?" Hey guys.
Are we being jerks by jumping in here, or are we good?
No, I actually invited Doug and Greg back because it's their show, and we have had such a good time taking it over. But it's still their show.
That's not true. It was your show tonight. So
Yeah.
But,
So yeah, I don't know. I guess it's time to get out of here. But I would like to see if Kimmy would like to talk about this real quick.
Please buy my book or follow me on social media at Sex Education for Parents. But this is a book that I wrote. Talk with her. It says it's a dad's essential guide to raising healthy, confident, and capable daughters. And it is very dad forward and father-daughter forward. But it's really for any parent who wants to crack the code of hard conversations with their kids on key topics, especially in adolescence. So.
And what's going on your website, quick?
Oh, well, I'm about to be launching my new parenting courses. Those will be up in about a month or so, but my new website is going to be live probably next week. And I just filmed my first course, which is something I've been teaching to parents around the country for years. And so I'm just about to get it on there. So I'll let you know. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll see the updates about it. And I'm going to be giving pre-launch discounts and friends and family discounts. But I'm really excited for it to be live.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Buy the book for sure.
What? Oh yeah, thanks. It's very close to my heart. It starts with a story about my dad and this road trip that we took together. But yeah, thank you.
Excellent. Oh no, thank you. April, one last shot to talk about anything we should know about coming up on your YouTube here.
Just more mommy content. My journey with Isaiah, being a first-time mom, being a working mom, which I don't think there's a lot of representation for that. We all see the stay-at-home moms, which is awesome, and that's a hard job. But there's also working mommies. So I'm going to jump more into that and trying to just build my little mommy community so we can all help each other and support one another. Support is such a big thing when you're a mom. It's very much so needed.
Amen to that. What's going on, Heather? Anything you want to talk about before we get out of here?
Not much to plug. If you're in Central Florida and you need swim lessons for children with unique abilities, hit up Summit Therapies.
Nice.
Cool.
That's great.
Excellent. And last and certainly not least, Miss Renee.
I've been, as anyone who follows me on social media knows, I've been very focused on my visual arts and not my writing lately. So if you want to find me, it's probably best to find me on Instagram at artpostacy, ARTPOSTACE. But hopefully this summer I'm going to be getting a shitload of writing done, and I'll have something more exciting to share next time.
Yeah, and you and that other guy over there you and that guy over there does some talk about crazy cults for once a year or once a month.
Once a year?
What? Who?
That's how many times I tune in, y'all. Even though I
Doug
help
hang
produce.
out like once a month and talk
Because-
about cult documentaries. Yeah, I guess sometimes
Yeah.
there's a camera on or something and people watch. And actually, one just came out on Wednesday about The Way Down. Gwen Shamblin, who ran a very wild conservative Christian cult about weight loss, and as she became more controlling and weird, her hair got bigger and crazier. Well, I won't say it's a fun one because we don't have a lot of fun at the cult bar, but we have fun talking about unfun things.
We try our
so
best
wanna
on
see
it.
I just
Yeah.
watched the documentary, so now I have to tune in. I'm that person, so I'm
I
gonna
think
watch that.
I think the show works best if you are at least passingly familiar with the cult, but it also works great if you're unfamiliar or you think maybe you don't want all the details. But I love doing it with Doug. We have so much fun. And every once in a while we do one that is actually mostly fun. Like we did Unarius, which is like literally about playing make-believe and pretending it's real.
Wow. I joined that one.
I'm about to say, can I sign up?
They still exist. You can join them. I mean, watch our episode first. Make an informed decision.
I'm kidding. On the public record, I do not need to join a cult. Thank you.
Are you sure?
You can always,
sure?
as is our
I'm-
tagline, join us.
Yeah.
I'm on Book Talk. That's enough of a cult. Thank you.
Oh, yes, it is.
Oh, that's very fair. That's very
Yes.
And lastly, y'all, Doug and I will be on doing his Mortal Content thing on Tuesday, talking about music, specifically. Well, we'll be talking about Maxwell, but we'll also be talking about maybe Rage Against the Machine. I want to talk to Doug about stadium. I went to a stadium concert recently. I would like to talk to Doug about going to stadium concerts. You know, those big, huge ones. Only big artists go to. So yeah, that's on Tuesday, y'all. And on that note, we're going to say thank you to our moms one last time.
Happy
here.
Mother's Day, everyone. And
Happy Mother's
Day.
Day. This was fun. I enjoyed it.
Best moms.
yeah, this is awesome.
Thank
Hope
you
have a
guys.
wonderful weekend.
Happy
All right,
Mother's
take
Day.
care.
Yes.
Happy Mother's Day to all of you.
Yes. Hope you have a wonderful Mother's Day. And we'll see y'all next week with who, Doug?
Jen Mann.
Yes.
Right?
She couldn't be
Right?
here tonight. So we'll celebrate with her next week.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Cheers,
Cheers,
folks.
y'all.